Hi, we're Scandalous Sundays. My name is Cam.
And this is Dr. Liv, and we are diving deep into shame and most specifically WAP. Wet
Wah, wah,
ass
wah.
pussy. Yeah. We
I
definitely checked to see if we could play it, but copyright laws, so we're not going to
yes.
play it for you.
I even looked up I Googled how many seconds of a song can you play before copyright, and basically all of them was like, there is no threshold. That's a myth. Like you cannot play a song. Not at all. Like it's all copyright. I was like, damn it, because I really wanted to play that at the beginning, just like 2 seconds of it, the song.
So good. It's so good. If you have not listened to WAP by Cardi B, definitely dive into it because it is amazing. It's fantastic. It mentions Kegels. So every pelvic floor PT out there was just their day was made when this song came out. So
Yeah, I just think this is like the epitome of female empowerment, period.
yeah. And I think that's the interesting thing. That's what we really wanted to dive into today is that it's a very controversial song and it makes a lot of people very uncomfortable. But it's talking about wet ass pussies, which is this beautiful way of saying a woman that's turned on or a female body that's turned on and excited. And when did that become shameful and controversial to talk about and get excited about?
Yeah, because I feel like what we try to do with this podcast is just talk about things that women are scared to talk about, and that song is just one of those things that it evoked so much controversy, and just is kind of what we wanted to our goal was is to make this destigmatize everything about female sexuality, right? And but even still, everybody was commenting, all the right wing or conservative people were talking about how this song is demoralizing America, or or was degrading American society, and it's no, it was just talking about something that really needs to happen to have sex.
Like physiologically,
Yeah.
you want a wet ass pussy.
Yeah.
This is a whole lot more comfortable when you're having sex to be wet. But that's the thing that was crazy. I mean, even the music video, people just got up into an uproar about it and just how scandalous. And this is in a society where everybody watched 50 Shades of Grey every Valentine's Day for a couple of years,
Yeah, I mean $1 billion or something.
Yeah, but then we start to talk about a woman being turned on and a woman, just the physiology of being wet, and then all of a sudden that's not okay.
Did you ever see that Ben Shapiro and him getting mad and saying, my doctor wife said that there's something wrong. They have bacterial vaginosis or something
Oh,
if they're that wet.
no, I did not. I tried to stay away from the controversy just because it made me so got very passionate about it. But no, that's so I hate when they use medical doctors to create politics about a woman's body. It's You're supposed to get wet, and it's okay if you don't. Some bodies just don't, and that's the beauty of lube. But there is nothing wrong with your body if you're getting wet. It means you're turned on.
I just thought it was really funny. I think it's if when you think of this song as just so horrible and so disgusting and so nasty because a woman is getting wet, then obviously you've never experienced that in your own sex life, and there's something deeper going on, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think that it goes even more into that core of women getting shamed for one things that are just physiologically happen in your body, right? Now all of a sudden, like you said, there's people talking about there's something medically wrong with you if you get wet. So you're getting shamed for being turned on. But then women get shamed for being too dry as well and needing lube. And so I think that's the hard thing about the way that women are perceived in today's society is there's always these two polar opposites that we're supposed to adhere to. And that's where women start to mistrust their bodies and get confused. And, you know, we get lost in all of these different messages.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was so like just the controversy around it was so funny because it's not the first time that any like there's been a sex song out there, right? I think we talked about last week, My Neck, My Back. That was a song that was out there. And when I was in seventh grade and we were all singing it, I don't remember such a controversy around it. But I mean, I don't know. I was also in seventh grade, so I don't. Maybe they were talking about it or not, or maybe because it was just such a fringe of society, right? Like not a lot, maybe not as many people were listening to rap as it is now. It wasn't as popular maybe back then, or she wasn't as popular as maybe Cardi B is now. So it's just like it was this huge thing that was just so controversial. But sex songs aren't new. Songs about sex aren't new at all.
Well, I mean, let's go back to Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye. That was one of our songs on our Spotify playlist last week. That's all about having sex, sexual healing, right? And there's not this huge controversy, but I think it was just too much in people's faces, maybe like there is something weird about that female empowerment and women embracing their sexuality that makes people feel really uncomfortable.
Right. But also I think also it shows how people just don't know about female sexuality just in terms of how to turn a woman on, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think people really realize what it really means or even how it happens.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, this is one of the things that I talk a lot about in my work and I get so many messages about is women don't know how to have orgasms, how to get wet, how our bodies work. And I even get a ton of messages from men being like, wait, like how do I turn on my wife? How do I turn on my partner? Like, how does this happen? Where am I supposed to touch? What are the names of our body parts, right? Like we all know the male body parts, mm-hmm. but we've talked about this in an episode before and I get to know your body, but there's, like the lips or how they're supposed to look. All of those things are so taboo and we don't talk about it. And so, yeah, it's kind of hard to figure out how to turn somebody on or turn yourself on if you don't, if we shame all of this stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, the song really opened up a conversation about everything. But I was like, yeah, like at the end of the day, that is a good thing. Wet ass pussy is a good thing. I remember seeing articles about like from doctors like saying this song is good because it tells you what needs to happen for sex. It just doesn't like you can't just stick something in dry, like right. But also like women need to be turned on. Like they need to have like feel sexy and like this song just explains it all.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing too, is that generally within the female body, we need foreplay. We need a little bit more of that build up, that getting to. So, and we talked about this a little bit with the sex magic last week, is that, if women especially, we're multitaskers. And then if we start to think about something else, then we lose our orgasm. And that's the same thing. Like if you need to get really turned on to be in the mood so that you don't start to think about your grocery list halfway through the orgasm and lose it.
Right. And then also, like you said, the shame thing, right? Everybody, we have to be sinners or saints, right? There's no in between. There's nothing like either you're a slut or you're not a slut.
Yeah. What is that saying? I am totally about to butcher this, but like a lady in the streets and
freak in the sheets.
Yeah.
But that's I try and use that all the time.
I'm no wonder women are so confused on what they're supposed to be doing with their bodies and getting all this, because that's what you're expected to be.
Yes.
The thing is, if you are told constantly you got to be this like timid, shy, good girl, and then all of a sudden you expect her to be a freak in the bed, like you can't just turn that off and on. That's split personalities, right? Like it's a lot of trying to be multiple different people instead of just getting to be yourself.
Yeah, I mean, like when it's like it's like the movies where like the ugly girl is like has glasses on, and then she takes off her glasses and she's like and puts on a dress and she looks amazing.
It's exactly like that.
So hot afterwards.
Yeah. Well, and then, when you start to get messaging like that and shame, then you do start to lose trust in your body because, I mean, yeah, like if you're hearing messages like doctors think that when you're getting wet, that's bacterial vaginosis, then all of a sudden you start to get weirded out by your body, or, like you're having sex and you feel like you're getting wet, and all of a sudden your brain's on what's all wrong with me.
Yeah.
But then, you add in porn where there's all kinds of emphasis on being wet and squirting and all of that stuff, and all kinds of mixed messages.
I know, because yeah, it's like what are you expected to do? Like what do you expect to how do you expect it to perform?
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like we're talking for a lot of us, like this is not something that we're talking to our girlfriends about. So it's not like we feel comfortable sitting down at brunch and be like, hey, like how wet do you get when you have sex? Like how do you like turn on, or like what do you do if you're too dry? Like it's just, these are not things that most of us are willing to talk about with our girlfriends even. And so we're kind of like lost in the dark by ourselves, trying to figure out what we're supposed to be doing. And then, we try to watch porn or watch like or read like a romance novel, or like watch 50 Shades of Grey and get all kinds of mixed messages from that, because that's entertainment, right? Like that's not real life.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about our good old Texas sexual education, but I don't remember anybody talking about lubrication or anything like that. I don't remember hearing about that. I feel like I would have remembered some of that.
Yeah. No, we definitely are not told to like use it. I don't even remember how I like discovered that that's what you're supposed to use. And I'm pretty sure for a long time I thought that if something was wrong with you, you had to use lube. It wasn't this reality that most women use lube when we have sex. Like it's just a thing. But I don't think like I knew that for a really long time. I just was like, oh, there must be something wrong with me because I have to use lube,
Right. So it's either like, yeah, like you said, either too much, too little, like what do you don't know, right?
Yeah.
what it is. And it's like all kind of normal actually, or
Yeah.
it shouldn't none of it is really shameful.
No, yeah, it's whatever everybody's body is different, and whatever your body needs is great. But if you are getting these messages, like if you're lying there in bed and your brain is on, is this normal? Am I being awkward? Am I doing this right? Then physically your pelvic bowl clenches up, which makes sex more uncomfortable and the muscles tighter, and all, like you're less likely to enjoy it, which adds in a cascade effect of having difficulty having an orgasm, which goes into all kinds of taboo things too, because then there's something wrong with you if you can't orgasm, right?
I mean, but yeah, also when it takes some time and you can't just jump right into it.
Yeah. I mean, even with quickies, like you kind of have to have that, like, like sexting your partner for a few hours beforehand to like build up the anticipation of a quickie and things like that. Like you have to build up that foreplay in whatever way feels good to you.
I think also you talked about Kegels a little bit. It's another thing that is probably not talked about a lot. But I remember like in college we used to do we talked about Kegels, or I don't know if I read like a Cosmo article because I used to read Cosmo like all the time or something, and it's like like doing Kegels, and we'd be like, wait, I'm doing it now. I'm doing it now. But even then it was a joke. You didn't even realize how important that is.
Yeah. Well, you don't know that like it's a muscle that you have to strengthen And so doing the Kegels, and when I was in clinic as a pelvic floor PT, I would say 95% of the women that came in who thought they were doing Kegels were doing it completely wrong. So it's like as if you're doing a squat and nobody actually teaches you the form for it. And so you're not actually doing anything. You just think you're doing something. And most of the time you're actually harming yourself because you're doing it incorrectly, which just like if you do a squat incorrectly, you're going to injure something. So nobody actually tells you. So even if you start to talk about Kegels, nobody actually tells women how to do Kegels correctly.
Right.
And so, yeah, we're not told any of that, which I love. I think in Wet Ass Pussy, they actually say stuff about doing your Kegels, which I love because it at least gets the conversation started about it, right?
Yeah. When she's like, hop on top, I want to ride. I do a Kegel while it's inside.
I love that you know the words perfectly.
I know every single word to that song, I think. I really like it.
Which is a great way because then if you know how to do the form, you can feel that squeeze and lift that happens with a Kegel, and your partner will absolutely enjoy it as well.
So WAP dropping knowledge, scientific knowledge.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Like whatever brought out something that we didn't know. Right? Or brought education and just in a rap song.
Yeah. Get educated while listening to music.
I know, since our school system is failing us, we need Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion to help us with female pleasure and like learning about it, because we definitely don't learn about it in schools or in our households or anything. We need a rap song to tell us.
I know. Well, hopefully with more songs coming out like this, we talked about this last week, is the different kind of female empowerment songs starting to come out. And, controversy sells, right, in today's society. So hopefully there's more and more songs like this that come out, start conversations, and at least, even if you hear about it in the context of it's taboo, at least starts to get like just your brain thinking about it and realizing that, hey, maybe it's good to have a wet ass pussy.
I mean, I think it's funny because like we talked about a little bit in like eroding society or something like that, but it's like always something that a woman does is the end of our society as we know it, right? So it's probably like, when women had dresses that were above their ankles, that was the society, being degraded. It's like when women voted, that's another thing that hit our society terribly, right? Just one of those things to add on the list.
Yeah, just keep eroding society and creating some female empowerment and confidence.
Yeah.
I like it. No, I mean, that's the thing is, what seems controversial now is not going to be controversial in 5 or 10 years. It'll just be hopefully normalized and start to normalize women taking control of their sexuality and their power, and just getting to say, hey, this is really fun and this is what I want to do with my body. And because there's no shame, with any of it, is if you want to dress super modestly, like kudos, awesome for you. If you want to dress all kinds of sexy and like play around with your clothes and your body, good for you. It's always should come back to like what feels good to you, and not so much like what are we judging women for, how they're getting dressed,
Right. I mean, like it doesn't have to manifest itself in any other way other than the bedroom. But I mean,
yeah, you can totally be a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets if that like is what feels good to you.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is we've talked about this back when we were doing like the Instagram live episodes, is this idea of there's no shame in either of the spectrums, so long as you're doing what feels good to you. Like if you're, vanilla, like we talk about like the vanilla or the kinky, like whatever spectrum you're on within like how you dress, how you move, what you do, none of it matters. There's no shame in any of it. Just the only thing that matters is that you do what feels good to you, what makes you confident and excited about your body.
Yeah, but just having that freedom to do it and like nobody say anything. I think that's what we're still working on, right? It's just like
Yeah.
it's like being able to do whatever you want and nobody says anything to you as a woman or because they shouldn't.
That's the hard part. I know that, when I started doing my marketing for my business, it's really helped me reclaim my sexuality and my connection to my body. It helped me heal my eating disorder because I think it helped me connect back into who I am, how I feel good in my body. And I remember feeling so edgy and out of my comfort zone and being like, if my business doesn't work out, like nobody's ever going to hire me again because there's these like sexy pictures out on the internet. And like now I look back on the pictures and I'm like, these aren't even that like risque. But I remember like the first one I put out, I was like, oh my gosh. But if you find me on a beach somewhere, like hanging out, I am wearing like significantly less clothing and like wait, like it's all a perception, but it does seep into our thoughts and does affect everything that we do,
Yeah, I guess that's a good way of thinking about it is like, okay, if it's appropriate on a beach, right?
Yeah.
Then it should be appropriate in your Instagram.
Yeah, like at what point, like men constantly like walk around in gym shorts and no like t-shirt or, there's just and we've just normalized that. But and when you go on the beach, it's weirder to see a woman like fully clothed on the beach, right? Like you're like, hey, what is she doing? Versus just wearing your bathing suit. And so a lot of times a woman wearing a bathing suit on a beach is a whole lot less clothing than what you see on like boudoir photography or things like that. It's all perception, but at some point, it becomes this like crazy taboo thing.
Yeah. Oh, to be a man and be able to walk around with some freedom of your like shirt off and no one to say anything. Don't have that confidence.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It is amazing. Like, if you're a woman going for a run in just like your sports bra and gym shorts, like I feel like the only women that really feel comfortable doing that are women with like 6-pack abs. And then you see these guys with like pop bellies just like walking around, like mowing their lawns. And you're like, wait, well, like it's all just a perception and idea of what you can and cannot do as depending on like what your body even looks like.
Right. And I mean, I know there's probably some kind of, I guess body dysmorphia among men. So I will definitely don't want to degrade them at all. But at the same time, still like there's a lot of different just like confidence levels that you're allowed to have between a man and a woman, right? So it's just like
and this is totally not to disparage, like men totally have a lot of stigma and like messages and stuff that they're getting into as well. I think society as a whole has a lot of idea of what each gender can and cannot do, and it affects everyone for sure.
But yeah, definitely when it comes to sexuality, men are just allowed a lot more freedom.
Yeah, or at least just like what you're allowed to show of your body,
right? But yeah, I mean, I don't remember the men on like rap songs talk about all types of stuff and just it has not near as much controversy as a woman talking about her wet ass pussy.
Yeah, exactly. They just have so much more freedom on what they can talk about, and just a little bit more acceptable. They get their controversy too, depending on the song, but not, I feel like WAP just blew up for the fact that I feel like it's pretty mild what she talks about, just you want to be turned on in life,
Yeah, but a woman is not allowed.
So really the message of this episode is go get turned on by life and have a wet ass pussy because you are so allowed.
Wet ass pussy is not a bad thing. I think we said this last week. We're saying it again. It's not bad. It's good.
Team wet ass pussy. We're gonna have to make shirts.
Oh my God. Can we have shirts, please, and wear them?
Done.
Yeah.
That's the message if you want a Team WAP t-shirt.
Yeah. We're gonna make some Team WAP t-shirts and send them out to people.
I love it. All right. Are you ready for a speed round?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So our speed round topic for this week is things women are shamed for. And I feel like we've already kind of bounced into this a little bit, but really just going into the full spectrum of the things that women are shamed for.
All right. The first one is the way we dance.
Oh, yeah. I feel like a lot of women get shit about how they dance because like if you're twerking, you kind of get teased about twerking, but then if you don't know how to twerk, you also get,
That's true. That's definitely true. I mean, like all it's supposed to be, I think at the end of the day, it's all supposed to have like some kind of attitude of being sexual, right? But like you need to be, if you're not sexual at all, it doesn't look like it doesn't look like you're fun or you're being desired. But also, like if you do something sexual, you're too sexual, like, right? So the twerking versus the not twerking.
Yeah, for sure. Which, fun fact, twerking is actually a really great way to get into your pelvic bowl. I'm going to get all sciencey on y'all here. But it's actually a really great way to get into your root and sacral chakras and open up the energetics of the pelvic bowl. So twerking is totally good for you. Just saying.
Oh, okay, good idea. Good to know. When I'm like in my room by myself, I'm opening up my pelvic bowl.
You're just relaxing everything in there. You're taking care of yourself. One of the other things that we tend to get shamed for is sex toy use. Like using vibrators. I hear from women all the time, like my partner is freaked out or about using vibrators, but then there's all kinds of messaging of, oh, you totally should use a vibrator. I can't believe you don't use a vibrator.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like it's like almost like if a man is ashamed of it, he thinks that he's like not adequate enough, like he can't turn you on, but I don't think that's true at all. And I think, I mean, again, what we try and talk about, it's like just enhances everything. Like, yeah. But it's like we don't know to talk about it, so it just therefore has a stigma to it.
Yeah, I think it always comes down to like the intention of what you're using stuff for too. And yeah, if you're able to communicate like a vibrator, or they have like so many amazing couples vibrators too, especially for, just across the sexuality spectrum too. There are so many amazing toys that we can use to enhance our experiences with our partners. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's the same as like, like BDSM toys and things like that. Like a vibrator is all in that same category, and it's just you get to play and have fun with it.
Yeah. What we eat.
I feel like that messaging is like intense, and it goes again, like we're kind of going off of like the sexual theme here, but it does connect because what we eat, we're told all kinds of messaging about it, which then gets you to stop trusting your body. If you don't trust your body, it's a whole lot harder to like get into sex and get into your body and enjoy sex, right? But I mean, there's all kinds of like that. Like we talk about it a lot about like the girls on the first date who like only eat a salad, but then, that's bad. But then I can't believe that chick's eating a giant cheeseburger too. Kind of get shit either way that you eat.
Yeah. Or not eating healthy versus eating healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gets all into that.
Yeah. Sex frequency too, like how often you have sex, or even just like, like we get weird messaging about, she's all uptight, like won't like have sex with, like, if she's like dating somebody, and then also the other spectrum of like, I can't believe she had sex on the first date kind of thing too. So
Yeah. I mean, I just like, we need to get out of the stigma of like how many sexual partners we've had over a lifetime. It doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter whether you've had like 1,000, 100, one, it doesn't matter. Like, and we should just like that whole getting rid of like what your number thing is just needs to be done with. Cause I feel like that just, yeah, it's like, are you a slut? Are you not a slut? Who cares? Like,
yeah.
you shouldn't even it shouldn't even matter, especially like if you're a partner kind of asked or something like that. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, what do you need to know that for? I mean, other than like, you're my one now, right? Or you're
Right. Yeah.
or something like that. Like, that's all you need to know. You don't need to know anything, because what did that accomplish by
Yeah.
like knowing your number or even caring about your number?
Yeah, I've been loving taking back the name of slut and be like, yeah, I'm a sacred slut. Like, and really starting to own it, because you get to enjoy life in whatever way that feels right to you. And so there's no specific thing that you're supposed to adhere to. Again, coming back to like, just do what feels good to you.
Right. How we dress. Yeah, this is a big one.
I feel like that's a big one. Yeah. I mean, like, how many women listening to this right now have like gotten dressed in the morning, looked in the mirror and been like, oh, I can't wear that, or like run back and change because you're scared of like being judged, right?
I mean, even so, like, even the way I grew up, or even still now, I'll wear a skirt out of the house and my mom's like, that's too short. And I'm like, I'm freaking 33 years old. Like, what are you telling me how how short my skirt is, first of all? And then second of all, who cares? Like, it's not my, like, my ass is not even showing or anything like that. But I also like a good mini skirt. So leave me alone.
Or like, one of my favorite things right now is high-waisted pants and like a crop hoodie. Like, it's comfortable and feels really fun for me. And it took me forever to get to a place where I felt okay doing, like, dressing in a way that felt fun for me.
Right.
I felt like I needed to dress.
Right.
And, if you think about it in like a big picture way, that's so silly, like, that we can't dress in the way that feels fun. Like, that's what it should be. Our clothes are just you get to play with your clothes and what you put on your body.
Yeah, I mean, showing any part of your body. Yeah, like showing your belly or showing, your arms or your boobs or something like that. Like, just like highlighting some section is always like some kind of like debate in your head, and it shouldn't be. Like, it shouldn't be like, oh, I'm showing too much boobs, I should cover up or whatever. Like, no, just let it all hang out if you want to.
Yeah, it's just skin. It's just skin at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know if there are other things that you feel like women are really shamed for. I feel like we could talk about this for forever, but I think our goal with this episode really was to just come back and be like, hey, empower yourself, do the things that feel good for you. And, together as we go through these controversies, hopefully we start to drop shame and get to help women just be in their bodies and love their bodies and do what feels good to them.
And enjoy their wet ass pussies.
Yeah. Wet ass pussy.
Yes.
Go.
Always a good thing. Always, what do we always say? Consent is sexy. And yes, now we're going to say wet ass pussy is a good thing.
Mottos for Scandalous Sundays.
Yes.
Life should be consensual and wet.
Yeah. Good.
On that note, we will leave you with that beautiful imagery of a wet ass pussy and a life that turns you on. And we will see you next Sunday back on here.
And keep it spicy and have a good rest of the week.